What's up, guys? It's your boys Awoki back out with another not Chris Watts video, but a Watts case type of video. But this is going to be centralized on Shanann Watts because I cannot believe, still to this day, that there's people still blaming Shanann. There's people that will degrade Shanann and all the hate. I don't understand why people are going after the what or the Rusek family. Like, I I have like I'm at a loss for words. It's ridiculous. And we're going to be watching this video right now, which is from Secret in the Dark. I definitely found this, or I found this YouTube channel fairly new, and I definitely do agree with this person as well. But it states still blamed Shanann Watts' family, but why? I want to watch it with you guys. So grab a chair, get comfortable, and let's take a look at this video. But before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed by hitting that wiper icon down the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it. So I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you so much for the love and support. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, I am Frank Rusek. Daughter Shanann Watts and her children were murdered. They were killed by Shannon's husband and the children's father, Chris Watts. Just
the real bad guy, not a victim. The villain, the evil guy. And there's people that sit there and say that Chris was the victim. How?
Dealing with this type of tragedy is more than a family should bear. Piled on top of pain and the grieving of this devastating loss, our family has been subject to horribly. Cruelly abused, outright bullying, and on a daily basis. Our family, including Shanann and her children and our grandchildren, have been ridiculed, demeaned, slandered, mocked in the most vicious ways you can imagine.
And their family was the one that was murdered and taken away. Why do that to the Ruseks? I can see it a little bit for the Watts family just because of what Cindy said, but even then, the Watts family shouldn't be messed with either. I don't understand how these nasty people can be, and then they sit there and be like, oh, this YouTuber did this, and that YouTuber did this, and this YouTuber's in this, and they just go on to every single YouTuber or even Facebook or TikToker or Instagrammer, and it's like they just bash and bash and bash, and they think they're funny.
We have been subject to false accusations, fake Facebook accounts, hate speeches, and constant stream of ugly, evil insults and attacks.
Wait.
Every time we turn around, there is someone trying to capitalize on our tragedy. We have been subject to threats on our lives, all because we are victims in painful tragedy.
She posted everything. The school runs, the dance parties, the quiet moments sitting beside her daughters, just watching them draw. Her phone was her canvas. Her family, the art. She spoke openly about her past. Lupus. Divorce. Struggles with self-worth.
And because people didn't agree, they blame her. They shame her. I don't get it, dude.
How she found her footing again. How she met someone who made her believe.
It's like blaming and ridiculing somebody that has cancer. Like, why would you do that? The person can't control that they have cancer. And yet there are people that make and mock because people are dying. But when it's on the other foot, then they're like, oh, help me, help me. But yet they don't understand that they're the ones that mocked people that were deceased. I see it all over the place. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's vicious. And for what?
Believe in love. Chris Watts wasn't just her husband. He was the man she credited with saving her. Their wedding videos showed her crying as she read vows. Their pregnancy announcements showed genuine laughter. And when the girls were born, Shanann was the kind of mother who soaked up every second, messy hair, sleepless nights, and all. She turned her life.
Shanann was the mother and spouse that a lot of men want. And yet Chris threw it all away for another woman.
Life into a message that no matter what you've been through, joy is possible. She built a business from her phone, connected with women across the country, encouraged them, pushed them, celebrated them. But after her death, those same videos, those same posts, became ammunition. Clips of her hugging her children were slowed down, analyzed. Her words picked apart. Her tone judged. They said she was too controlling, that she overshared, that she.
It's a freedom of speech. She had the right to share whatever the hell she wanted within not Fortnite, Facebook guidelines. So it's not like she was posting nudity or violence or graphic content. She was sharing her family. She was sharing her business. And yet people are like, oh, she's too much. Like, I've seen the amount of people that put the weirdest stuff on Facebook, and yet they're still here. No one bashes on them. I don't get it. For you haters of Shanann, why do you do what you do? What is your end goal? What are you trying to strive for? Besides be a complete, huge Dickensian.
Emasculated him. They called her a narcissist. They forgot she was dead. And they forgot that every word they typed, every theory they posted, landed on the screens of her parents, her brother, her friends, people who loved her, who couldn't even say her name without breaking. Shanann lived out loud. And for that, she was punished. In the court of public opinion, grief wasn't enough. Innocence wasn't enough. Being murdered wasn't even enough. She was no longer a woman. No longer a mother. No longer a victim. She was content. This isn't just about a case. This is about how we treat the dead. And what it says about the living.
We need to respect the dead and honor the dead and be memorialized with the dead. And yet, there's people that I don't get it.
It started slowly. A few stray comments under news articles. Anonymous usernames questioning the timeline,
and it's always the anonymous one. I mean, there are ones that use the real name, but a lot of them go anonymous. And they say the most ridiculous things.
Emotions, the tone in her father's voice. At first, it seemed like noise, background static in the chaos of public grief. But it grew louder. The funeral had barely passed. Shanann's parents, Frank and Sandra Rzusek, were still reeling. They hadn't even begun to process what had been taken from them, their daughter, their grandchildren, their future, when the strangers came. Not to console. Not to support. But to accuse. They said Shanann never existed. They said Frank was acting. They called Sandra part of a cover-up. They claimed the tears at the press conference were forced. That the emotion in their voices was rehearsed. Then came the videos. Dozens at first. Then hundreds. Clips with bold titles. Proof the Watts case was a hoax, the Rzuseks are lying, crisis actors exposed. Creators uploaded hour-long breakdowns of the Rzuseks interviews, pausing on every blink, every breath, every pause, twisting grief into performance, pain into deception.
If they use that effort on finding information on Nichol, we would probably have what we want when it comes to this case. NK questioned and possibly thrown in prison. But no, they want to bash the people that lost their lives.
Some viewers believed it. Others didn't care if it was true. The videos spread. Views turned into shares. Shares turned into revenue. The more outrageous the claim, the higher the watch time. And so it escalated. Emails arrived. Then messages. Then threats. People found Frank's workplace. Found Sandra's Facebook. They sent images of coffins. Told them to dig up Shanann's grave to prove she was ever real.
What?
They questioned Bella and Celeste's birth certificates. They sent screenshots of morgue photos. They told Shanann's brother he was part of the act, playing the grieving sibling for likes. They weren't just defaming the dead. They were stalking the living. And the platforms let it happen.
And I repeat, do not do any of that. That is the lowest of the low. Do not go to their house. Do not send them anything. Do not do, grow up. It's bowling.
YouTube videos stayed up for months, even years. Algorithms recommended them. They appeared next to real news. They were treated as equal, as valid.
And yet, I guarantee there will be haters of Shanann that go, "You did that with the Watts family." When you hear from that woman's mouth, "I don't care what you did. I still love you." That really pisses you off. So,
as just another side of the story, Frank pleaded publicly, "Please let us grieve in peace." He was ignored. In one video, a creator paused on a clip of Sandra sobbing at her daughter's memorial. He mocked her, laughed, called it Oscar-worthy, then asked his audience to donate to support his research. This wasn't investigation. This wasn't journalism. This was entertainment, built on the bones of...
If anybody donates, donate to the Rusek family. Sandy has a YouTube channel where she cooks. I love watching her cooking channel. Go help them. Or better yet, go donate to St. Jude's Hospital or a veteran donation place or cancer research. Donate to those kind of donations. Don't donate to me. Donate to a whole bunch of other donators or donation genres and help others. Don't donate to somebody on YouTube that claims that they're investigating and needs assistance. Investigations can be done free. That's why I don't get why some people are like, "Oh, donate to my YouTube channel because I need more money for finding out the Ruseks are like." That is completely idiotic. And you won't find me begging or asking for money. Ever.
Someone else's suffering. And the Ruseks? They were left to pick up the pieces. To relive the worst moments of their lives every time they opened a browser. Every time they heard Shanann's name spoken by a stranger who never knew her, never cared to.
I would have loved to get to know Shanann as a friend. Because there's countless people online that say that she was a great woman, and some of her speeches that she has in her videos are very inspiring. It makes me want to be a better person. And yet people bash on her.
This wasn't just harassment. It was desecration. Of memory. Of truth. Of dignity. And there was no end in sight. What happens when justice is served, but cruelty keeps coming? What happens when a family's deepest grief becomes someone else's hobby? What happens when the internet refuses to let you mourn? Stay with us. Because it's about to get worse. The confession should have ended it. Chris Watts admitted to everything. No courtroom drama. No hung jury. No ambiguity. He told detectives where he buried Shanann. He led them to the oil tanks that held Bella and Celeste. The autopsy reports were released. The timeline was confirmed. The motive, if you could call it that, was laid bare in cold, flat statements. For most,
the motive was lust, greed, money. That's pretty much it.
It was horrifying. For Shanann's family, it was a grief so vast it couldn't be spoken. It took their breath, their sleep, their ability to imagine life ever returning to normal. But for others, it was just a new chapter. Claimed Shanann never died. That she and the kids were in witness protection.
That's ridiculous.
That the whole thing was a psychological operation orchestrated by the government.
For what?
Or by Thrive. Or by the media. The theories contradicted each other, but it didn't matter. The goal wasn't truth.
Those are the stupidest theories I've ever heard.
It was traction. Meanwhile, Frank and Sandra were burying their daughter and granddaughters. They stood before 3 caskets. They held each other up because they couldn't do it alone. And they did it all in public, because the case had been public from the start. Frank read a statement to the press. His hands shook. His voice cracked. "We just want to remember our daughter with love," he said.
The good times.
"Please let us grieve." But no one listened. Instead, those words were clipped, remixed, uploaded into new videos. "Notice how he stumbles over his words," one commenter wrote. "He's hiding something."
He's upset.
They said Shanann was abusive. They said she pushed Chris too far. They pulled videos from her social media and pointed to her tone, her posture, the way she looked into the camera.
She was a determined, leadership, boisterous woman that knew what she wanted and she went for it. And yet, she's ridiculed for it.
"See?" they said. She was the problem. The narrative twisted. The victim was reframed.
You know who the problem was? NK. Nichol Kessinger is and was and always will be the problem.
As the villain. The man who murdered his family was recast as a pawn. And the people who loved Shanann most were recast as liars. The Rusacek family stopped reading the comments. Then they stopped reading the news. But the content kept coming. The Rusaceks tried to live their lives. Tried to heal. But grief was no longer private. Every moment of sorrow came with 1,000 eyes. Every time they spoke, it was dissected. Every time they cried, it was judged. Even after a full confession, some refused to believe it. They targeted Shanann's memory. They targeted her family.
Target Chris.
And they wouldn't stop.
Or Nicole.
This wasn't just misinformation. This was abuse. And it was only getting worse. Chris Watts was sentenced to life in prison. No possibility of parole.
Thank Lord.
No appeals. No courtroom theatrics. Just a quiet finality, as the gavel fell and the legal system closed the book on the man who ended the lives of his pregnant wife and their 2 daughters. For the public, it marked the end of the case. For the news cycle, it was a last headline before the next story took its place. But for the Rusaceks, the ending was never the end. They left that courtroom with empty arms, with an ache that would outlive them. They didn't get to go home and find peace.
I bet they would give anything to hug Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, and yet the Watts family can hug Chris. We've seen pictures. There's other pictures apparently out there that we can't see. That Chris gets to hug his mom and dad and talk to them. The Rusaceks can't do that.
They didn't get to mourn in silence. Because every time they tried to disappear from the public eye, the internet pulled them back in. The harassment didn't taper off after the conviction. It escalated. They received anonymous emails filled with violent threats.
For what?
Messages accusing them of being frauds, of profiting off their daughter's death. People stood outside their home and filmed their mailbox. They were sent screenshots of videos.
Do you realize how much lawyers are? When I went through my divorce, it cost me $20,000. I couldn't imagine what they're going through. Thousands of dollars to pay in lawyer fees to get certain things taken care of from different people that say the harsh, nasty stuff that was untrue. I couldn't imagine what the Ruseks have gone through, money-wise.
Claiming Frank Rusek was in on it, that he
Makes no
knew the
sense.
murders were staged, that he had rehearsed his grief. Imagine mourning your daughter and getting death threats. Imagine watching your grandchildren be buried, and then watching someone use their faces to sell ads. This is what the Rusek family lives with. Every day. They didn't ask for any of this. They didn't want a spotlight. They wanted quiet. A porch to sit on. A place to remember Shanann without fear of who might be watching. A space where Bella and Cece could be spoken of without someone twisting their names. They go to vigils. They light candles. They wear her name on bracelets and t-shirts. They look for signs. In songs. In dreams. In the wind. They carry the weight of memory. And the burden of defending it. Because in a world where lies go viral, telling the truth becomes a full-time fight. And the people left behind after tragedy aren't just grieving. They're surviving. Against an audience that refuses to let go. Chris Watts will never walk free again. That's the only part of this story with finality. But for the Ruseks, justice is ongoing. It's in every moment they choose to speak Shanann's name.
But I guarantee also, this case would go silent if they would just question and interrogate NK properly. Prove her innocence or prove her guilt. This case would be done. That's why it continues to go on. It's because the what ifs, the unanswered questions, the evidence that has gone either muted or not used, or NK not being questioned. You do that, the case goes quiet. I
Every
guarantee
time
it.
they shield her memory from lies. Every time they call out cruelty disguised as curiosity. They never wanted to be public figures. They wanted peace. But they were dragged into a new kind of war, one not fought in courtrooms, but on platforms. On timelines. On screens. They'd become quiet advocates for truth, not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. In a world that rewards speculation over compassion, it falls on the victims' families to correct the record, again and again. What does it mean to mourn in the modern world? It means knowing your child's name can be used by someone chasing clicks. It means watching your deepest loss turned into a monetized narrative. It means reliving trauma every time you log on. And still, they carry Shanann forward. Bella. Cece. Baby Nico. They speak of them often. With love. With pride.
They should be remembered as how beautiful they were. How adorable their voices were. How cute their eyes looked when they had a new toy, or mom was home, dad was home at the time when he wasn't a monster. But that's what they should be how do you say it? That's the memory that we should have of them. Not, oh, Shanann said this and she was a bad mom. Like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, the people that go out of their way to victim blame, to bash and bully, they have problems with themselves. And they don't want to worry about what is wrong with them, so they bring out the bad in others to make themselves feel better.
With a strength no parent should have to find. They don't ask for your pity. They ask for something much harder to give in today's world, your humanity. Where do you draw the line between curiosity and cruelty? Drop your thoughts in the comments, but keep it respectful.
Amen.
These are real people. This is real pain.
Amen.
If this story moved you, if it made you think, like the video. Subscribe for more deep, human-centered storytelling. And share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's start a new kind of conversation.
I love that.
One grounded in empathy, truth, and accountability.
Agreed.
If you or someone you know is facing abuse, harassment, or violence, there is help. You are not alone. Choose compassion. And thank you for watching.
Very well done. Loved it. It was a very well done, put together video. Go over to his channel, give him some love. Definitely, if you know anybody or hear anybody or see anybody that's victim blaming or bashing on Shanann, just tell them to shut it down. Just enough is enough. Let's remember Shanann, Bella, and Celeste and the good times and the love that the Ruseks had for their family, or still have. They love them unconditionally still to this day. Even though they're gone, they still remember the good times. The bashing and the bullying for Shanann needs to be kaput. And it all starts with the people at home. Try to stop it where it's at. I thank you guys for watching. Please take care, be safe, look after one another, love your family, because you never know when the next day is the last. And just have humility. Be a positive person than a negative person. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, keep nerding on and take care. We'll see you guys in the next one.